The turn of the millennium was an unprecedented era for pop music, and far too many of its stars have faded from the limelight. So which pop legends of yesteryear deserve a comeback? In 2020, Jesse McCartney wowed fans when he appeared on Season 3 of The Masked Singer. Dressed as the Turtle, the one-time teen idol made it all the way to second place before losing the crown to Real Housewives of Atlanta star Kandi Burruss. Whether or not he deserved to win the season remains a subject of hot debate, but what we can say for certain is that McCartney has an incredible voice that deserves to be on the radio. The singer is still in the prime of his life, and we could easily see him collaborating with someone like Lil Nas X, Post Malone, or another popular musician. He has never stopped making music, but it has been over a decade since McCartney had a hit song. McCartney was a child when he started singing professionally, starting out as a member of the band Dream Street, before embarking on a solo career. While he also acted during this period, enjoying a prominent role in the WB series Summerland, it was his music that got him the most attention. He had a string of moderate hits as a teenager, starting with Beautiful Soul in 2004, which peaked at number 16 on Billboard's Hot 100. His highest charting song was 2008's Leavin', but he had another 6 songs enter the top 100, including She's No You and Shake. In an interview on the Zach Sang Show, McCartney reflected that he took some time off to live a more conventional lifestyle, but his musical chops suffered as a result.
My runs weren't as tight. So I was like, all right, time to get back in the studio, time to get back in the gym.
Some fans thought he was having a comeback moment when he released the single Better With You in 2019, but we are still waiting for him to score another hit. In July 2023, Jessica Simpson told Bustle that she was contemplating a return to music after years of focusing on her business ventures. As exciting as that news is, we truly hope the melodious itch rubs off on her younger sister Ashlee, as she too has been out of the game for a long time. Unfortunately, the younger Simpson is probably best remembered these days for her lip-syncing snafu on Saturday Night Live. This is unfortunate for both her and her potential listeners because she had some truly catchy songs and a distinct voice that could be put to good use with the right creative team. Her first 2 records, Autobiography and I Am Me, featured her biggest hits to date, including Pieces of Me, Boyfriend, and Love. In the time since these tracks hit the airwaves, Simpson has only released one other full-length solo album, 2008's Bittersweet World. In 2018, Vice wrote an article about the singer having a second coming, and they suggested she might use her reality show Ashlee and Evan as a catalyst for a musical comeback. Unfortunately, years later, Simpson has done very little musical work outside of collaborations with her husband, Evan Ross. However, she did perform a surprise duet with Demi Lovato in 2022, so there's still hope for future releases from the younger Simpson sister. Jesse McCartney is not the only performer whose appearance on The Masked Singer prompted our desire for their return to popularity. From Chris Daughtry to David Archuleta, we wish the show had pushed its celebrity contestants, especially victors like Jewel and T-Pain, further into the mainstream. Jewel in particular deserves to reclaim her rightful place atop the charts, although we think we may want that more than she does. In a 2022 interview on Sherry, the singer said she was overwhelmed by her early fame, and that she is now at the level of notoriety that is best for her mental health.
That level of fame that I achieved was just not something I knew how to handle.
Jewel was a huge sensation in her heyday. Her debut album, Pieces of You, went 12 times platinum and spawned memorable hits like You Were Meant for Me and Foolish Games. She had other hit songs in subsequent outings like Hands and Intuition, but she has never recaptured those early heights. Perhaps by choice, Jewel has not had a song chart on the Billboard Hot 100 since 2008's Stronger Woman, despite releasing more than half a dozen albums since then. This feat is fairly disappointing, as a voice as strong as hers deserves to be heard by younger generations accustomed to auto-tune and gimmicks over artistry and sincerity. The fact that this folksy queen does not even have a Grammy despite earning 4 nominations is a travesty unto itself. After suffering the tragic loss of member Lisa Left Eye Lopez in 2002, TLC will never be able to fully recapture the magic of their heyday. Even so, the girl group's remaining members have certainly tried, even running a Kickstarter campaign in 2017 to fund their 5th and final album. However, the music they put out as a result of the campaign was a pale imitation of their early stuff. We know that the group's two remaining members, Tion T-Boz Watkins and Razonda Chili Thomas, have so much more in them, and if Jay-Z and Garth Brooks can come out of retirement, so can they. 4 of TLC's biggest songs, including Waterfalls and Unpretty, reached #1 on Billboard's Hot 100, and the group has charted a total of 16 songs throughout their career. However, they have barely made a wave since the turn of the century, and haven't come close to charting since they were featured on J. Cole's Crooked Smile in 2013. Now is as good a time as ever for the girl group to make a comeback, considering they re-recorded versions of 3 of their hits in early 2023, and helped put out the Lifetime documentary TLC Forever later that year in June. They also went on a summer tour with a handful of other 90s artists, so we are making an official call for new music. Maybe they can't give us another No Scrubs or Creep, but they can at least give us something on par with Girl Talk. Lisa Loeb is often included on lists of one-hit wonders, but it is a travesty that such a talented, Grammy-winning artist is so easily lumped in with such a vast category. Technically, this designation isn't even true, since Loeb's iconic hit, Stay, I Missed You, is not even her only song to chart. Her tracks, I Do and Do You Sleep, were both top 20 hits on Billboard's Hot 100. Loeb is also an important figure in music history, as she's the first unsigned artist to hit #1 thanks to her song Stay, I Missed You being featured on the Reality Bites soundtrack. While part of this unexpected success was due to the film's star, Ethan Hawke, living next door to her at the time, the song's music video, which featured Loeb walking around a bare apartment with her signature cat-eye glasses, was undeniably memorable.
The concept was greater than having a band video.
That's what I thought.
And people connected with it.
While Stay, I Missed You is an amazing song that deserves its place in music history, we are sad that it is the only thing many remember about Loeb. Though she has taken large breaks between albums, the singer has continued to make music over the years. In addition to her music for adults, Loeb has also made 6 kids' albums, created theme songs, and even done some acting. She also has an eyewear line and even starred in a reality television series called #1 Single that focused on her dating life. With such a vast collection of work under her belt, we think her career's overdue for a renaissance of public opinion. Natalie Merchant began her career as a member of the band 10,000 Maniacs, which had a number of hits, including These Are Days and Candy Everybody Wants. Though they may not have been the biggest group in the world, their 1992 album Our Time in Eden and their MTV Unplugged record both went platinum. As the lead vocalist, Natalie Merchant was a huge part of the band's success, and she proved she could do it alone after leaving the band at the height of their popularity in 1993 due to creative issues.
What I wanted was to be an artist who created music that was emotional and meaningful to people.
Merchant launched a very successful solo career with 1995's Tiger Lily, which sold 5 million copies. Her follow-up album, Ophelia, did okay, but Merchant has never again reached the level of fame she had in the early and mid-90s. Merchant's first solo outing spawned 3 hit songs, with her track Carnival reaching the top 10 on Billboard's Hot 100, and Wonder and Jealousy both cracking the top 25. She has since released 7 more albums, but she's yet to produce even a small-scale hit with her newer material. Speaking with The New Yorker, Merchant expressed she's perfectly fine with her understated presence in the music industry. But we think her unique voice and alternative sound deserve a wider audience. She spent the entirety of the COVID-19 pandemic writing her latest album, Keep Your Courage, and has gotten back to performing after a spinal surgery that put her ability to sing in jeopardy. There is no one out there today like Merchant, and we wish today's youth knew what they were missing. Missy Misdemeanor Elliott is a rap legend, and we do not use that term lightly. There's a reason she made the Songwriters Hall of Fame, received the MTV VMA's Video Vanguard Award, and got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. From her songwriting to her rap skills, Elliott has always been at the front of the pack. Lauded for the path she created for female rappers to break into the mainstream, she has been nominated for 22 Grammys and won 4. The fact that she has not made a full-length album since 2005 is basically a crime. Elliott's long absence from the music industry was at one point due to Graves' disease, but when she tweeted that her health was improving in 2011, we anticipated a comeback. Fans were also given false hope for a return to the spotlight in 2015 when she put out the single WTF, Where They From. Unfortunately, it took her another 2 years to put another song out. Finally, in 2019, she gave fans the 5-track EP Iconology, but it just wasn't enough. Thankfully, the superstar is said to be working on an album sometime soon, and we cannot wait. We just know Elliott is going to give us jams that are up there with Work It, Get Your Freak On, 1 Minute Man, and the rest of her vast catalog of hits. We cannot dispute that Vanessa Carlton's 1,000 Miles is a classic song, and its legendary status was only cemented when it popped up in a major scene in the blockbuster comedy White Chicks. When she burst onto the scene in 2002, Carlton was somewhat of an antithesis to the likes of Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera. She was known for playing the piano and giving off a more folksy vibe, and she was always refreshingly earnest at a time when pop stars were told not to be. As noted in a Marie Claire profile, Carlton has frequently discussed topics like mental health, sexual orientation, and sexual harassment in both interviews and on stage. 1,000 Miles peaked at number 5 on Billboard's Hot 100 and earned the singer 3 Grammy Award nominations, including Record of the Year and Song of the Year. And though Carlton had a few other moderate hits like Ordinary Day and White Houses, many critics have reduced her to one-hit wonder status. Since the height of her fame, there have been a few occasions where it looked like Carlton's career might be back on the come-up. For example, the San Francisco Examiner predicted that her 4th album, 2011's Rabbits on the Run, would ring in a new era for the pop singer. In turn, E! News declared that her 2015 album Liberman would mark her return to fame. Unfortunately, neither hit it big, so a true Carlton comeback is yet to be determined. At least the singer is still making music. Her last album, Love is an Art, was released in 2020, to minimal fanfare, but was critically well received. Enrique Iglesias is a world-class talent, but he is over the idea of putting out new albums. He announced this while discussing the release of his 2021 record Final Volume 1 with Ricky Martin and Sebastian Yatra on Instagram. While he also stated that Final Volume 2 is in the works, he made it clear it would be his last hurrah. If that's the case, we would very much like to see the singer return to the level of popularity he had with his early music. Final Volume 1 just didn't live up to his older releases like Enrique or Escape, and it didn't even crack his top 10 in terms of sales. Iglesias has had 25 songs make the Billboard Hot 100, 2 of which hit number 1. He needs a higher-profile final record, with at least one song that hits like the tracks Hero or I Like It. Then again, Iglesias has no plans to stop making music altogether. He just might not structure his releases as full-length albums moving forward.
I'm never going to stop making music. I'm never going to stop writing songs because I love to write songs.
Iglesias has already somewhat moved away from the album model over the course of the 2010s, having released numerous singles in the 7 years between 2014's Sex and Love and Final Volume 1. For this reason, we hope that his future releases might still enable the return to glory he so deserves. Leona Lewis seemed like she would be huge after her debut album Spirit first released. After winning Season 3 of the X Factor UK, the hit single Bleeding Love catapulted Lewis to worldwide fame. It spent 39 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100, peaking at number 1 for 4 of them, and the accompanying record sold millions of copies. She had 4 other songs make that same chart in 2008 and 2009, including the lead single from her second album, Echo. In the ensuing years, however, she faded from the limelight. She released a couple more albums and had minor success in her native Britain, but Lewis has not had a hit in the United States since 2009, and she hasn't released a new album since 2015. While we want Lewis to have a comeback, it may not be in the cards just yet. While there was talk that she would release a Christmas album in 2021, nothing materialized aside from a duet with Neo and a re-released version of her previous Christmas record from 2013. According to The Mirror, Lewis and her husband now own a vegan coffee shop called Coffee and Plants, which is located in Pasadena, California. She's expressed a desire to open another location, which might be what is keeping her too busy for the studio. While it's great to see her passions taking form in another successful pursuit, we still think her voice is too good not to be celebrated by the masses once more. Many of the musical acts on this list are still making music, so their comebacks are possible, even if unlikely. Other artists we've highlighted have not made music in a long time but are still open to it. Then there's OutKast, a group that is almost surely broken up for good. Andre 3000 left the door open in 2019 when he admitted on the Broken Record podcast that he wanted to make new music but was creatively blocked. Evidently, that block persisted as very little has come from the rapper since. 2 years later, the other half of the duo, Big Boy, told Revolt that people should, quote, ask Jesus for new music. More recently, OutKast collaborator Sleepy Brown told TMZ that there will never be another album. That that seems credible since they have not released so much as a song in over 15 years. Still, we cannot help but fantasize about the return of the guys who gave us classic #1 hits like Hey Ya and Ms. Jackson. The best we can probably hope for is some compelling solo work from Big Boy or Andre 3000. But even then, neither one can recapture the sonic treasure of OutKast as a whole. Ashanti is still around in some respects. She hits red carpets and performs her old hits in small venues, but she is nowhere near where many predicted she would be at this point in her career. After a stellar musical run in the early aughts, fans are aching to hear new music from the singer-songwriter. While Ashanti did re-record her debut album in 2021, she said on The Breakfast Club that she mainly did it for money. It would be great to see her put out some new music that hits as hard as her early stuff. The singer did release 2 songs in 2022, and she has collaborated with popular artists like Lil Wayne and DaBaby over the years, though we are still waiting on that long-promised comeback album. Her last album, Braveheart, came out in 2014 and barely made a blip. Ashanti first rose to fame in the early aughts after Irv Gotti signed her to Murder Inc., and she guested on Fat Joe's What's Love and Ja Rule's Always on Time. Her first solo single, Foolish, spent 10 weeks at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, and she followed it up with 2 more hit songs, Happy and Baby, all from her self-titled debut album. Ashanti scored 5 Grammy nominations, 1 win her first year on the scene, and another 3 the following year for her second album, Chapter 2. Her musical success has waned as the years have progressed, and we think it's about time for that to change. Nelly Furtado has been getting press in 2023, and we are here for it. The Canadian singer did her first photo shoot in 6 years when she graced the cover of Fault magazine, and her interview with the publication provided insight into where she is both personally and musically. Speaking with Fault, Furtado discussed how she's been diagnosed with ADHD, how frequently her songs are remixed, and the methods she's using to try to get back to the core of her passions.
I feel like the place I'm at right now is kind of like the same place I was at when I was like, I would say 20.
Furtado also acknowledged that her music was trending on TikTok, news she had to receive from her child since she was not on the app at the time. She observed that thanks to the social media platform, her music has only recently started to connect with younger generations. Specifically, Furtado's older songs like Say It Right and Promiscuous have found a whole new audience thanks to social media. The singer even makes dance videos on TikTok now, which she told Vogue has helped her deal with her ADHD diagnosis. Thankfully, Furtado has gone back to the studio after years away. She released the song Eat Your Man in June 2023 and is working on a new album, her first since 2017's The Ride. Furtado has taken extended breaks from music before, but we always miss her when she's away. Her biggest hits, which include I'm Like a Bird and her collaboration with Justin Timberlake, Give It To Me, are undeniable classics, and we are ready for more.